Hello, and welcome back to another fresh episode of Reflections in Cinema. This is episode 3, and on today's episode, we're going to focus on a very special film by Stanley Kubrick called The Shining. Let's get into it. This film, The Shining, by Stanley Kubrick, based off a novel by Stephen King. Uh, I have a really deep love-hate relationship with this film and with this film's director, Stanley Kubrick. We all know, us movie lovers, cinephiles, those who just love cinema and movies, students of film history. Uh, we all know and love Stanley Kubrick. He's made some masterpieces, classics, from his last film, Eyes Wide Shut, to his, you know, beginning films like Paths. I think it's called Paths of Glory with Kirk Douglas and Clockwork Orange, Lolita. The list goes on and on and on. Spartacus, his early works, just good content. The killing, you know. But on today, I want to focus on his interpretation of The Shining, Stephen King's The Shining, and I want to focus on not the film as a whole because this is where I'm torn because the film as a whole, his take on it, his interpretation of the book. I love Stanley Kubrick's uh, interpretation of The Shining. I love the visuals, the music, uh, you know, Red Rom, all that creepy stuff, the the twin little girls, the bloody elevator. There's so many iconic images in this movie. You know, it's a lot. But today, I just want to focus on not the film as a whole, but something that has bothered me ever since I became aware of it with this film is Stanley Kubrick, his take on the character Dick Halloran. I'm not sure where, well, I am sure where it's coming from, and that's even more disturbing. But I'll get to that soon. But Stanley Kubrick, he really he really didn't like black men or something because when you dig deep into the history of The Shining and you read the novel and stuff, you come to realize Dick Halloran, the character, he not only survives in the novel and helps out Danny and his mom, but he he's like, I won't say the hero, but he helps and he doesn't die. But with Kubrick, in his mind, he felt the need to not only, spoilers, of course, for The Shining, but in Kubrick's mind, he not only felt the need to kill off the character Dick Halloran, but he he didn't really let him shine as a character at all, as far as at least trying to attempt to be somewhat of a help to Danny and his mom. So that's the focus of today's episode is Kubrick. Like, why do I think Kubrick um didn't really want Dick Halloran to be a vital part in his story, his take on The Shining. So that's what we're going to focus on today, not the film as a whole. Because, like I said, I love the film, but I really hate Kubrick's the way Kubrick uh, dealt with the character Dick Halloran and how he just really discarded that character like he was a piece of trash. So that's what we'll talk about today uh when it consists of The Shining. That's going to be the main focus of today. So, why am I taking this so personally? Well, I'm not taking it personally. It's just it really sucks, to admire a director such as Kubrick and his his work, his output, his filmography, to admire that. And you know it really sucks to see like he really didn't really like black folk like that. And why am I saying that? Well, I mean it's kind of obvious. I mean, in the novel The Shining by Stephen King, Dick Halloran goes back to the hotel because he can shine. He shines like Danny. They can both shine, and he's getting his shine. That Danny's in trouble. He needs help from his father, and so Dick Halloran goes and help Danny and his mom not only survive, but he survives with them in the novel. So I'm like, if you read that, and Kubrick, he had to have read the book. He's like, no, I don't want this nigga to, to be the savior, the hero, nothing, And I mean, it's it's his take on the story. He can do whatever he wants. That's why I'm trying to not take it personal. But this is where it makes it really, really, disturbing for me to really not take it personal. So, um, I'm not sure if this scene is in the novel, in the book, The Shining, but there's a scene in the movie with Jack Torrance, played by the great Jack Nicholson, in the bathroom, the great bathroom scene, where he talks to this, let's say he's talking to the bartender in the bathroom. This very beautiful, you know, uh, the direction, the set direction is beautiful in that bathroom, it's like red and white bathroom. And he's talking to him. This bartender is clearly like a figment of his imagination or a ghost or whatever. And Jack Torrance is having a conversation with the bartender in the restroom. I mean, the restroom. And the ghost bartender, he says to Jack, "We have a problem." And he's like, "What?" He says, "The nigga." And Jack is like, "The nigger?" you know? And the bartender ghost guy, he says, "The nigga cook." I'm like, "Oh shit." He's like, "We got a problem because this cook is can get in the way of you getting to Danny because they can both shine or whatever." and so Jack is like, the nigger, you know. It's like, what the hell? We gotta get rid of his ass. We gotta get rid of the nigger cook, you know. And so that right there, I was just like, okay, I'm not sure if that's in the novel. I'm not sure if Stephen King wrote that scene like that, but that let me know all I needed to know about the way Stanley Kubrick views Dick Halloran and why he ends up deciding to not only, you know, drag his character through the snow. He makes Dick Halloran leave his nice, comfy bed, his warm bed. He chilling at the house, and he makes Dick Halloran go on this sojourn, this shining sojourn to reach Danny in time. And he's going. He's calling people. He's traveling through the snowstorm. He's going on this trek to go back and save Danny and his mom. And Kubrick is just getting off to this. He's like, yeah, I'm about to drag this character through hell and high water to get to the hotel to do what? To save Danny and his mom? Ha ha ha. Yeah, right. I'm about to have this nigger cook go through all of that just to get to the hotel. And as soon as he gets to the hotel, what's going to happen to his ass? Will he save the day? No. As soon as he get there, as soon as Dick Halloran gets to the hotel, Stanley Kubrick kills him off. Yeah, he has Jack Torrance axe his ass. You know, he just come out of nowhere and axes him, and that really bothers me, man. It bothers me knowing that in the Stephen King novel, uh, Dick Halloran was treated. His character was treated with just a little bit more respect than that, man. And you know, Kubrick, he just offs him. He gives him no chance to not even see Danny again or have a conversation one last time. Like he just gets there, kill that nigger cook, you know. So, but it's very unfortunate because you know, like I said, I have a love hate with the movie as a whole. I love this fucking movie, man. But that once I became aware of how he translates and interprets the film from the book and how he did Dick Halloran, as a black man myself, it's just it's bothersome and it's so unfortunate that you know you got white guys that's I don't know, man. You got some people that don't want to see the brothers win, that don't want to see the brothers save the day, and it's unfortunate, but I'm trying to not take it personal because I do realize and understand that this is Stanley Kubrick's story. Is this is his interpretation of the story, and if I want it to be a certain way that I like it, I have to make my own interpretation of the story. So this is why I'm not trying to take it personal, but it is very, very disheartening to see a director that you admire, uh, in a sense, betray you. In a sense, you know, betray, um, just you know, just betray you and really show their true colors as far as how they see people that look like you and how they don't really value you as human in a sense, you know. But again, this is his story. You can do what you want with your story. But yeah, so that's my perspective on this. I've been holding that in for a minute because I really love The Shining, man. It's a really dope movie. The visuals, the music, the sound, everything about it, the stellar performances. I love the movie, but it's just extremely unfortunate that that's how the director sees black folks, unfortunately. But yeah, this has been episode 3 of Reflections in Cinema. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Uh, and yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. I'm gonna try to be consistent with that. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. Take care.